This is my jig setup for machining the splines on my 40 position tool holder. I'll mount a new block in and we'll cut some splines. This is my my block that I've machined, pre-machined on the milling machine to do the right bore. It's being placed in the jig and will get locked into place by these nice little cam locks, and then they'll be clamped after that. The cams are now have the block locked in place until I put some heavier clamps in, but the cams also drive the blocks into a datum point or a two reference surfaces that locate the block so I can take them in and out to do different operations in different machines. Now we have the two additional clamps in place to firmly secure the block against the jig that's in the back, and now we'll set the machine up to start cutting the spline, and we'll go from there. Okay, I've got the block set up. I've cut a couple teeth here. I'll just walk through cutting one tooth at a time. It's a pretty simple process once you get started. Just want to make sure that when you're indexing your block, you make sure you go your 9 degrees, because if you don't go 9 degrees, then things aren't going to work out very well. Of course, each time we would lock the post. We've withdrawn the tool head here. And now we'll start cutting. It's a pretty straightforward process. You just kind of, you feed your tool in. Got the compound set at 51 degrees, so the tool's not cutting full depth. It's cutting down the flank of the tooth basically, and with a nice little chip breaker on the cutting edge side, and so there's not too much tool pressure, because when you get to the bottom of the cut, you're cutting probably close to 140, 150 thou on the side of the blade, so, or inside of the tool bit. So feeding it down probably about maybe 4 to 5 thou a pass or a stroke. Yeah, it doesn't take too long. You feed it in, feeding it in approximately 121 thousandths of an inch, and keeping the oil to it, of course, because you can hear it. I don't know if you can hear it, but you can hear it cutting when you put that oil on. So it's just a nice shearing cut. Like I say, you really just, it's all about setup. It's about taking your time, getting the setup right, and you gotta be careful not to get distracted. There's a lot of accuracy here that needs to be met, because it won't fit the tool post otherwise. I've cut 3 so far. First one was I wouldn't say loose, but it wasn't a perfect fit. It took a little bit more on the tool post to tighten it up. Second one was better again, and the third one was pretty well spot on. When you can just slide it over, it doesn't take much to tighten it up. So I've got pretty good number there on how much to feed down, and so that's what I'm doing now. And I'm just about there at the end of cutting one tooth. And like I say, this particular one, I think we're cutting about 13 or so. I think 13 or 14 teeth in total. So there's that's the last one, and we're just we'll lock it up there, and we'll just pause that for a sec. I've retracted the tool bit. Now I'm going to index basically the 9 degrees. And what I do is just to double check on the side, make sure I've got a mark on the degree wheel to make sure I'm in the right spot so I don't make a mistake. And I'll cut the rest of these, and then we'll move over to the tool post, and we'll just see how it all fits. Hopefully it'll work out good for me. Doesn't take too long to cut a tooth, probably maybe a minute or two, if that. only probably doing maybe 30 or 40 strokes a minute right now. I'm taking about 2 to 5 thou, depending on how much I turn it with my hand. And as we get closer to the end, cuts get a little bit deeper, and we take a little less. Overall, though, the tool seems to be cutting good. This is the original sharpening, so I haven't lost the edge on it yet. I hope I don't, because it took a little bit of time to grind to get the angle exactly 51 degrees. I'll show you at the end what that. I made a little jig up to grind the bit, and I'll show you that. It's it just helped get the correct angle. So there's another tooth. Put her on pause, and we'll be back in a minute. Now we'll just release it from the cams, and we'll just have a quick look at the jig by itself. Here's a quick look at the jig and the couple of cam locks there to lock it in place. I know it's hard to see there, but anyways, we'll go over to the lathe and see if it fits. Here we are over at the lathe, and as you can see, it's got a good snug fit and locks in place really nice. So we'll get the rest of these cut, and then we'll move on to the bridge assembly that goes up here and for your height adjustment, and we'll bring you back maybe when we're cutting some of them. That's all for now. Take care.